G'day and welcome back for more Space Engineers Survival. Back from mining, the new update's running, and thankfully all of the mods we've got in the world still work just fine, especially since Dr. Novikov has updated his Space Just Got Real mod. And I think before I do too much more work on the hangar, I do need to figure out where this elevator or lift is going to go. And I think I have a pretty good idea of where I'm going to put it. Might be slightly different to what I said last time, but I think maybe coming down this side here. I have plans with the truck. Oh, I should turn the lights off on the butterball. I have plans with the truck that would mean having a side parking bay will probably be what I need for it. And that will mean that I probably will want to put it out this side rather than that one. Although, no, I think having the lift on this side will be better. And the reason for that is if we go around the front, I'm still thinking of this as the main personnel entrance. So if you're coming in, you're not going to want to have to walk through the entire base to get to a lift that's way on the other side over there. Would be better if it was just through here. And we can always put living quarters and stuff out this way instead of out this way. And there's probably more room for it that way anyway. That was a lot of ways. So, in order to do that, I'm going to have to check a couple of things. I'm a little bit anxious that if we drill too much here, we're going to end up outside. And the way I'm going to check that is by putting a GPS marker down here. That'll be split C5. And then hopping to the outside and seeing how far away that is. $12 meters. So my plans with this lift are to make it as a piston-based one. And with the pistons being much more stable than they used to be, this should work reasonably well. Maybe we could even use our projector trick here and project out the size and maybe even project out the lift. That could work, and make sure that it will stay within the size of the base. So let's design outside. Let's try this. I've never tried building like this in survival. I think it could be an interesting challenge. Let's try this out. So for the lift, we've got our doorway inside. So we've got our doorway laid out. I actually want this to be an enclosed elevator. And that means we're going to need double doors. I think we maybe use the sliding doors. If we have the sliding doors, one facing this way, and then on the other side, the other one will come around and open onto there. Now we need pistons as well. And we need blast door blocks, and this will make sense very shortly. So we come out here. I'm going to hang this from the pistons. I'm not going to push it up with the pistons. And I think that might work nicely here. So then at the base of that piston, we're going to use a blast door corner like that. Another one like that, followed by a blast door edge here. What this is going to allow us to do is have a second piston right here, like that. So we'll be able to use stacked pistons this way in order to push the lift much further without having to have an enormous shaft for the pistons to be one on top of another. And this hole from the top to the bottom is how far? Let's find out. So from the base of the... Actually, if I just walk over the top of one of those splitsy markers, where are they? So 54 meters. So at 55 meters, at 2.5 meters per block, that means we're going to need 21 or 22 blocks, because I think the 55 might actually be below the line of the floor of the hangar. So that means we're going to need 6 pistons. Each piston can give us 4 blocks of length, so 6 pistons will give us a maximum of 24, which will be just about right. So let's stack 6 pistons like this and arrange them so that they can be nice and tightly organized. If we go like that, then put our blast door edge one like that, then we can put the next piston here. And we can continue stacking these like this until we've got 6 of them all lined up. And you can see why we'd be using the blast door edges here. Because they don't have any attachment points on their other sides, we can control which piston they're attached to, and they can all slide past each other, and we can compress everything quite nicely into a little package like this. I had thought about doing a scissor lift using rotors, but that will probably end up taking up more space, or at least the way that I can get my head around designing it. There may be ways you could do it where it'd be tighter, but I couldn't quite work them out myself. One thing you'll notice looking at this from this perspective is that we're gradually shifting downwards each extra piston we add because of the piston head. And that's going to be okay with the way that I've planned on designing this lift. That's 6 pistons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we need to design the car that's going to carry that's going to carry us up and down. And I want this to be enclosed, so what we'll do is we'll place a blast door edge this way. Then we can place a block here. And because these are all blast door edges, we can actually just have our blocks straight on top. That won't be an issue. One thing I am noticing that might be an issue though is our height. I might have just realized a problem we've got, which is I do actually need this to be a block higher. So this design gives you the rough idea of what we're going to do, but I'm actually going to scrap it for now because it is wrong. So let's grind down these parts and lift everything up an extra block. So even though I didn't measure out my initial design properly, it has allowed me to figure out exactly where I need these frames to be and how high they need to go so that we can fit everything in properly. And this should be then able to be projected inside the base. What I'm also going to do is to see if something is right on the edge. I'm going to place down a couple of different types of place a different type of block down. I'm going to use some heavy armor, which has a different frame. And if I use one like that, then one that's angled, I can see how close I might be. If we angle the next one this way. There we go, we got 3 of them. That corner should be the one that's going to be the closest, but I'll put one in this corner as well. And this will give us an even clearer idea of how close we are to the surface. There we go. Now, we just need to label this as a guide for our drilling, which will need a keypad. Now we can info, elevator, drilling guide. Okay. And what I probably want to do is actually put this door down here so that I know that I've got everything orientated correctly. All right, and Control B. Now, we go inside, we build a projector, and we project this into our hole. Okay, projector's on. Let's put another keypad on it so we can access it easily. Of course, I keep replacing the keypad on my hotbar. So we'll put another keypad on there. Then we should be able to access this projector. It should be this one. And drilling, elevator drilling guide. Okay. Alright. So we're a block too high and we're rotated one way the wrong way. So let's fix that up. Let's also rename this to make it more obvious. Okay, that should do it. Looks like the door's in the right spot. We've got a line of stuff coming up the top. Let's go outside and see if we can see that. See if we can see the projection. And we can. And we can see a whole corner of it. That's what I was afraid of. That's a problem. It's going to stick out too far this way. I wonder if we could cut off part of it. So how much will we need to do? Oh, quite a lot, actually. That's unfortunate. Don't think we can do the lift there, actually, now that we've seen that. Although we're actually going to be building on the inside edges of these blocks, I still think we might be a bit too close. And what I'm going to do is rework this a little bit to try and ensure that I don't drill out the wrong bit. So that means, whoops. Cutting off this corner, we'll need 4 blocks in from that side and 4 from that and 4 vertically. Okay. So after having ground off the wrong corner and now thinking about how I orientated this, this is the one that's sticking up. So let's grind it down. And we need to take off this top row here. And that'll mean we would have to be inside this border. That. Let's see if this works properly. And while I'm at it, let's put a couple of those up because that's the actual corner I should have had it on, not the far one. Alright, let's update this blueprint. Alright, we've done it. Okay, so that's the amount of space I've got to work with, the inside of this. Which means we can probably get rid of that and that. And that one needs to stay because I need some way for that to be connected to it. We can make this a bit more efficient looking. And the reason I want to look inside this now is now that I know exactly how much room I've got, I want to see that I can fit the lift mechanism inside. And that should do it. Alright. Now, to build our piston lift, we need a piston. Alright, it should fit. We've got 6 pistons in here. I've managed to build this within the space that we allowed ourselves with the drilling guide. And we have 1 piston, even though it's kind of hard to see with all the glare at the moment. 1 piston, 2nd piston, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and the final one is actually in the middle, which works out nicely, and that's the 6th. So that'll take us down 24 blocks at maximum. We've got enough clearance above that we can build our lift the way I was hoping to. And now we can actually place a regular block on here. And then knowing that the lift will connect to that. So let's blueprint that. And I'm interested to see which parts of it actually project. Some of you might have been wondering why I bothered trying to build the subgrids on here, since projectors can't project subgrids. This was literally just a test run to see that I had created a volume large enough with the drilling guide. I'll have to place down all of these pistons again inside, but I wanted to make sure that they would fit and it would work given the space I've allowed myself. So now it's time to very carefully drill out based on the drilling guide. And hopefully I don't end up popping out of the wall. With this drilling this time, I need to be much more careful to stay on the inside of the blocks. Because if I start drilling on the outside, I suspect even though I've measured this out, I'm still going to end up punching through outside. Well, this should be enough space now that we can place down our pistons and get our lift ready to go. But I'm just noticing that this is it's probably this row here is going to be the exact wall. So we may want to even move this one more block or even two more blocks further to its right. We should still be able to have the pistons start where they are, but we'll just want them to be able to attach to a lift that's actually a bit further over here, so that we are still embedded in the wall on the other side. The next thing that's going to be slightly difficult is getting this lift shaft dug in such a way that it's going to not mess up my plans down in the hangar. And I think we should probably go down to the hangar to have a look at where we're likely to come out. And to get an idea of where we are up here, let's create a group of markers like we did before. So we'll go GPS, and we'll call this lift 1. All right, now that we got those markers done, we can head off downstairs and see where this lift is going to come out of the wall. And we've got our lift markers. So where is that edge exactly? So it actually is perfectly on this wall. So we might be okay. Well, I think messing around trying to make this too perfect is going to take just way too long. We can just adjust the designs as we go if we're unhappy with it. And it'll be lining up from here. The reason I do want to line this up a little bit though, is it'd be nice to be able to drill straight up to where we want to be. So that we can start lining up these blocks. What I might do is use a combination of the GPS markers to keep me on track, as well as placing down blocks behind myself. Okay, we've now got a guide hole that runs from up here all the way down to the hangar. And what this has shown me, if we have a look, since I want to try and keep the hangar walls as stone for now, I can only really come one block towards the hangar of this line of armor scaffolding that I put down, which means that the door to the lift and the center of the lift is probably going to need to be over here. Because if it's here, then I can have, then I can have 9 blocks, a 3x3 that starts from this point. Or I could go one block further over and give myself a bit more room. But I think just one block will be enough. So let's get drilling. I'm tempted to use the pistons if we build them and then stick a drill on the end, but I am worried that that will do a couple of things. One, it'll drill too large a hole, and 2, it'll all explode. So I may just have to suck it up and drill this out. Maybe even using the ugly duckling. Let's see if I can get her up here. So if we can drill a bit of a shaft using the ugly duckling, that will be very helpful. Oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Don't you get stuck in the lift shaft. Oh, that's not good. What just exploded? What did I lose? Something exploded. Oh, it was that thruster, wasn't it? Oh dear. Oh dear. That's not good. Okay, maybe we don't use the ugly duckling in here. I'm probably just going to end up destroying her. I really would not like to do that. We'll repair this and then we'll get it out. I think I'm going to be stuck doing at least the start of this by hand. What else am I going to do to get out of here? This is really hard to do. Oh, I've trapped her in a hole. Trapped. Trapped. Wonder if I can spin. Oh. Could we be out? Okay, we're out. Oops. One last bump for the road, eh? Okay. I'm abandoning attempts to use the ugly duckling to mine for now. I need to make the hole at least a little bit larger before I start using her, since it's a bit too tight right now. Ow! Okay, drilling without the jetpack does have its risks. Much better. If we can do a few more trips up and down without crashing. I'm getting stuck. Should have most of the lift shaft fully drilled out. Okay. Whoa, that is one deep dark hole. Alright. Probably need to do a little bit more drilling shortly, but I think it's close to time to laying out the pistons and the lift car itself so that we know exactly where we do need to drill. And in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the ugly duckling inside here so that it doesn't need to stay flying. So I can just park it on the floor. Although, actually, what I'm going to do first is do one last pass down this way. Looking at where the wall is for the hangar, and if we look at Splitsy 1 and 2, when they line up, that's the edge of the hangar, which is here. And we don't really want to have our pistons pushing down into that space. The upshot is, though, I can actually probably dig down a reasonable way here before I get to the top of the hangar height. So as long as the pistons have moved over to the rest of the shaft by that point, it'll be okay. And that'll all make sense once I build these. So let's lay them out like so. Why not actually build anything on there? 1, 2. Okay, and then we start with piston number 1. We should be able to do this pretty much as we did before, except gradually moving over to center here. And that should be all 6 of the pistons placed. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Good. And what I've done is I've snaked them gradually over this way, so that by the time we're getting down to our last few pistons, which are the ones that will be at the elevation where the hangar is, we should be well within the margin of where we need to be, which is here. And that lines up with those pistons. So as long as I can drill out this block, which I can all the way down, the pistons will work just fine without popping through into the base, into the hangar. Ha. Now I've got a whole lot of welding to do. So for the lift car, what I've done is I've started the attachment over at the piston, brought it down. There we go, there's the piston. Started the attachment here, brought it down, and then I'm making a bit of a lift car because I want this to be something we can walk into and then go down all the way inside a little lift car. And then on this side, we need to build a door. Like so. And then over here, there will be the other door that we walk into. Right there. And then on the building side, we'll put... Actually... No, let's put this on the car side. So we'll grab a line armor slope like this and put a blast door block. Oh, actually, that'll be better with just a plain block. So we'll put a plain block here, blast door block on there, and that will be how we walk into the lift. And I could Maybe replace these corner pieces here with square blocks. No, don't want one there. It's going to be glass. There and there. Maybe even put inverted corners on these. That's probably better. There you go, inverted corner. That way we can do this. Put that there. Put another blast door block out here. And another one out here. Then if I wanted to, I could put a little corner piece in there and in there so that it's got a little walkway beside it. So that you're all nice and safe, all occupational health and safety friendly. And there we go. We'll be able to, should be able to walk straight across this through to the door once I dig out the door and once I align this up properly. Then inside the lift, we'll have some floor, and so that gives us a floor plan. We can then place some glass down, which I'm going to need to go grab some girders so that I can actually place it. So this will be the inside of the lift. We need a control panel and we need some glass windows for going around it. So window. Let's go with... Ooh, maybe we go with the grill windows instead of glass. How would that look? We'll stick with glass for now. Stick with glass. Where's the 1x1? So glass, 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 and glass. And I've just trapped myself in here, which was not my best idea. And let's just break out that one. Then we need the button panel, and at the moment this is only going to go up and down. So let's put in just one of these switch stands right in the center of the floor. Hop in, press the button, and we'll go down. Hop in, press the button, and we'll go up. Place in my... I'll leave that window actually, so that we've got a way to get in. And now, I'm going to jump ahead to when I've welded up all of this lift and the mechanism for it. So I'll weld up all of these pistons as well. And then we'll jump ahead to when that's all done so that we can start making sure we've got enough of a shaft drilled out, and then get this thing functional. That is the last of my steel plates for now. I've got a bunch more manufacturing, or being manufactured, but that's it from what I've got. Let's turn off this projector since we don't need it anymore. Actually, let's just grind the whole thing down. There we go. Now, we will get rid of this door because it's just going to be in the way for the time being. Drill that out, since I can't enter it and have this med bay. I don't want to move the med bay just yet. So, we've got our lift car. We've got a whole bunch of stuff we need to drill out over here so that our pistons have room to extend in, which shouldn't take us too long to do. I'm going to do it by hand so that I have an easier ability to watch, that I'm not getting too close to our hangar. I think that's as much as I dare dig out with the ugly duckling. Anything more I need I'll do by hand so that I hopefully don't break through anywhere where I don't intend to. So let's park her back on a little pedestal. Oh, I seem to have damaged my connector. Badly. Oh, I almost blew it up. Alright. It is now time to play with pistons. Let's see what we need to do in order to get this all working properly. What I might do while we're testing this is have a light on this so we can see a bit more clearly what's going on. Let's whack its radius up as high as it goes. There we go. That'll make it a lot easier to see what's going on. And now we can go to pistons. We're going to name all of these piston. They'll be... Actually, we don't really need to name them. We can name them as a group. Elevator 1. Save. And the first one, what we're going to do is we're going to set its minimum distance to, let's say, 80 centimeters. 0.8 meters. Then I'll hit reverse. Then I'll hit reverse again, so it sticks at 0.8. And then you can see that we can actually walk straight on the lift. It's deliberately sitting just a bit above so that the ramp on the blocks sits nicely. And it's shaking a little bit, so let's do something else as well. Level 1. We are going to put share inertia tensor on for all of them. And now it doesn't shake around. What I want to do is one by one, I want to extend each of these pistons down. And I want to start with the first one. So fortunately we can do that here, can we? Oh yeah, velocity. Because as I extend each one, then I can dig out what path it needs for that section of the grid, since I don't actually need the hole to go the whole way down, being as broad as it is. So that's the first one extended. We're looking a bit tight on this one, so we've got to dig out this bit. Okay, we've made it a fair way down so far. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the pistons extended, although that one's not fully extended, which means we're running into stuff somewhere, and it's here. So my plan was just to gradually dig out just exactly what I need, using the pistons stopping when they hit voxels now to my advantage. This definitely would have been better if I'd just projected out the whole lift shaft and just drilled it out the way I'd done before, but it was going to be very difficult to design that and line it up properly. So I thought I'd go with this way, thinking it would be easier. I was probably wrong. Okay, look at this. We're almost there. Just got that last little bit to dig out so that we can set this at the right height to be level with the hangar floor. We are done. Well, sort of. We're done with the functional part. The rest of it will be making it look good. Okay, for that last piston, we want it to come down probably want it to come down 2.7 meters or something around there. And I need to get some hydrogen before I run out. So let's set that last piston to have a 2.7 meter maximum extension. Maximum distance. There we go. Let's turn this around so that it starts extending. Okay, so we just need it to extend that little bit further. I don't know if it's extended as far as it's set to, or if it's actually hitting something. And can I tell that from here? If I turn my lights off. We've got maximum distance, minimum distance. No, it doesn't say. Oops. Let's just check to make sure nothing's blocking it anywhere. Good, round there. Okay, it should be right. Let's give it a little bit further to extend to. Let's see if it goes down. So if we put it as maximum distance, let's try 2.9. Now. the build info mod is incredibly helpful for this sort of thing, because it allows us to adjust without having to go into the console every time. And we can walk on, we can walk off, no problems. Yay, we have a lift. Now, I need to weld this up and give it a function. Should be groups and elevator 1, reverse. So when we hop on, we should just be able to walk on, hit this button, and up we go. Kind of like the idea of being able to see out at what's going on. Might need to speed up the pistons just a little bit. It's quite a slow elevator ride. Right. We have stopped further down than I expected. One of the pistons has not retracted. Why have you not retracted? I think the problem with having lots of pistons stacked like this is sometimes not all of them work, which may create some inconsistencies in the behavior of this lift, which could be frustrating to say the least. Let's have a look in our control panel if we can do something about that. Maybe if we take off share inertia tensor, deal with the fact that it's going to be shaky, set our velocities to be minus 1.5, and then we'll give this a try. This could be high risk without the shared inertia tensor on. Let's go. Whoa, that's quick. That was possibly a little too quick. But we got down. That was way too quick. Yeah, I'm not going down that quickly. That's just crazy. Let's set them to 1. Alright. With 1, the max speed should be 6 meters per second. And what I've got this button set up to do is to reverse the direction. If we go down here, we go with... Although I could set up 2 buttons, one with extend, one with retract, so that if we get stuck, that might actually be a better idea. If instead of having this panel, we get rid of this switch stand, and we get a proper button panel. And with multiple buttons, what we can do is set up one of them to be an extend. Actually, let's set the first one up to be retract, so that we have lining up with our buttons. Button 1 will be level 1, and button 2 will be level 2, which is down in the floor. Kind of like a basement 1, basement 2, maybe. And we go extend. This retracts us. We jiggle about a bit. And we arrive and walk off. We have a working lift. As if we go down. Whee. Down we come. Walk off, no problems at all. It's a little bit wobbly. It is, I'll admit. Let's see what happens if I do change this back and have it as shared inertia tensor. Everything solidifies. We go back up to level 1. And do we make it the whole way up? I feel like we're going to stop early again. But if we do, we should just be able to hit that button to get everything working again. Yeah, we've stopped early. Oh dear. Okay, so we can't have shared inertia tensor on. We'll just have to deal with the wobble. I wonder if we can put it on just some of them. If we put 1... What'll happen if we just do some? I don't think it improves the shake at all. I think it's just as shaky if we have some of them on inertial tensor sharing, but maybe when I hop off it's less jiggly. Suppose we can sort of convince ourselves it's less jiggly. Wonder if it'll take us the whole way up though. So that's always been the worry without the shared, with the shared inertia tensor. Some of our pistons don't like to retract properly. It's looking good. Come on. Nope. Alright, no shared inertia tensors. It's not gonna work. Oh well. We have a functional lift anyway. I'm really happy with that. That was quite the mammoth effort it took to actually put that together. I've never built a lift trying to fit it into a tight space like this using pistons, but it's actually worked out reasonably well, especially with the improved handling of pistons and rotors that's in the game now. We can have the jiggling around and know that because subgrids don't get damaged, everything will stay intact. So that makes it much safer to have a build like this. And I think what we should do now is fix up a little bit of my... Oh no, what did I do? I did a silly and I got rid of my grinder. Is fix up a little bit of these sides. We can get rid of this interior light here and pop one inside instead. Okay. Lift car is virtually complete. We just got to do the final touches of the glass and things. But it's functional. It'll take us from our main area down to our hangar, which is what I was after. I'm quite pleased with that effort. We'll have to pretty it up and we're going to need to find a new place to put the medical room because it is really in the way now. I'm really happy with that though. Let's take one more lift trip down. Whee! Yeah. It's wobbly but working. That's good enough. That was kind of a big yet small thing to achieve in this episode. Next time around, we'll probably do some of the designing about how we're going to have the rest of the hangar. So putting in its floor, putting in some of the walls. There's that and plenty more to come. So I'll see you then.